You're now tuned in to By the Dipshits exclusive content. This is part 2 of a 3-part interview with O.D.B. last manager Jarred Weisfeld. Before we jump into the interview, By the Dipshits want to give a special thanks to our sponsors. What is Galaxy Wells? Galaxy is a metaphor which represents infinite space. Their goal is to dominate the infinite space in the digital publishing universe. Wells are the major corporation that possess endless amounts of content. What do? They turn content into currency in the digital space, the home of the NFTs. You want to keep your ownership and intellectual property? Then stop what you're doing and go to galaxywells.com. Now I'm back to By the Dipshits. Today's episode, he created and produced television shows for VH1, MTV, Spike TV, and Nickelodeon. He filled some big shoes as executive producing on Gone Too Soon, which was seen in over 50 countries. Currently serve as CEO of Objective Entertainment, a full-service literary agency that represents over 250 authors. I will not forget, he was rap superstar, legend, Old Dirty Bastard, aka Dirt McGirt, last manager, Jarred Weisfeld.
No, the funny part was though, like we literally went straight from prison to a press conference.
Wow.
And that's when he announced that he had just signed a solo deal with Rocafella Records. And then 10 minutes later, we were served with a cease and desist by Wu-Tang Productions. So that was a great day. So he got out of jail, signed a recording contract, and then we got a cease and desist letter from Wu-Tang Productions or whatever it was, 10 minutes after he got out of prison. Once he said that he was signed to Rocafella Records, they sent us that letter. So, but you learn a lot of things. Like I could tell you, like hands down, like if anybody ever gets in trouble, like Dirty had see, this is the thing, is like the people that were around Dirty, right? That were truly around Dirty, loved him, would do anything for him, right? His attorney, Peter Frankel, right? That was his longtime attorney, was there when he got out of jail, right? That's how, Dirty would always say, "Where's Peter? Where's Pete?" Because it's somebody that's had his back forever and never turned his back on him. Peter Frankel, like, I don't know, like I've never done anything against the law, but if you do, you go to Peter Frankel, right? Everybody, that's like, he keeps a low profile, but that's the guy that everybody goes to. There's nobody better. And
what's his name again?
Peter Frankel.
Okay.
And so like I was meeting these people, like I was meeting an attorney, I was meeting a criminal attorney, I was meeting all these people, like, and you have to navigate, right? So the most complicated part was we go to a press conference and there's like 15 people that show up that are in like a so-called entourage, right? And the only one out of the 15 I knew was Buddha, and obviously Dirty. So we show up at this press conference, but before that, my dad kept saying to me, he's like, "What do you know about managing?" I was like, "Nothing." He was like, "So then why are you managing him? Like, why does he?" I was like, "Because he knows like I'm probably one of the only people out there that'll look out for me and his mother, And he's like, "I got to go to this press conference." I was like, no, I can't have my dad showing up at a press conference. Come on, man. I was like, no, we'll figure it out. So my dad snuck his way into the press conference, right? And I didn't know he was going to be there. And me, Dirty, and Mariah Carey walk in like arm in arm. Right. And that's when my dad, like his jaw dropped. And I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? And then, but what you see, which is crazy, is like the amount of people and now I understand what his main problem was and why he wanted to be a loner, because there were so many people. So many people that were coming out from all over the place. that literally just wanted to be there for money, right? They wanted to be part of his entourage. That, you know, they wanted to get paid. I remember at one of his like first shows, there was a guy, I kid you not, that was about 4'5". He was just standing on stage. And 4'5" is like a generous, I mean, he was small. And the guy was on stage and, you know, Dirty's performing. And the guy looks at me and he goes, where's my fee for security? And I start laughing. Like anybody that's watched that show knows, like I was a complete, like I was a hard ass, right? So he starts like, I just start hysterical laughing. And he's like, what? I was like, that's his bodyguard over there. I was like, who are you going to stop? And he was like, I provided security. And I look at Dirty. I was like, dude, that's your new bodyguard? And he looks at me and he whispers in my ear. And I said, okay. And then I went back to him. I'm like, yeah, you know, like, we don't know who you are. Like, we're sorry. Like, we never would have hired you to be a bodyguard. Sorry that you know, felt as though you were. And we, you know, we sent him on his way. But we would have instances of that. We'd have people that would come and say, hey, you know, I need $500 a month in living expenses. And I would say, you know, but you're a grown man. So why do you need to like get money from him?
Well, so wait, so these were the people that was part of his entourage?
Yeah, no, they would make themselves part of their entourage. Right, he didn't want anybody around him. You got to realize it was him, Buddha, me, his mom, and maybe like 2 other people. Right? That was it. But he had all these people that wanted something from him. And I would be the guy that would have to be like, okay, man, you got to like, this isn't going to happen like this. Like one guy I had to send home because he wanted to be put on the payroll. And I was just like looking at him like he was crazy. I was like, dude, you're a grown man. Like, go get a job. Right. I seen that you had to play pretty much the bad guy, and Dirty was trying to convince you, you know, let him handle it, let me do it. But you were just so protective of him, which was a beautiful thing, man. So I did see it, and it was pretty, you know, refreshing. You're talking about you're talking about the scene in BET with the clothing, the Rocafella or the Dirtmaker clothing. Yeah. No, that's not exactly what happened. The cameras made it look that way. What happened was he and I, we went and we had a discussion, and it was like a good cop, bad cop thing. Because the issue was that he had to wear his clothing, but Rocafella was like forcing the clothing on him. Like we didn't even know they were coming, right? They just showed up, and they brought, you know, Rockaware, and we had Dirt McGird, and so he did 1 and 1. But the point was like the only reason why he was telling me to chill out was because we had just had a discussion. And so basically I came out there and he was saying to me, calm down, right? It was more so like he knew what I was going to do. And I knew what he was going to say. And then I backed off once he said it. Right. So it was like a planned thing. But yeah, no, that day was fucked up because what they didn't show you was like when I was sitting over there and the guy was like, oh, I'm going to bust your face in or this or that, right? What they didn't show was like I had 4 guys behind me that were bigger than them. So I was just sitting there and I assure you if the guy came within 5 feet of me, Buddha Monk would have decked him. Yeah, because he's a big guy. So absolutely would have. Yeah. So Buddha like was just sitting there and trust me, Buddha would have gotten in the middle of that real quick. So a lot of the times when you're, you know, people are like, oh my God, you're crazy. It's not that I'm crazy. It's always I had people around me that I knew would, you know, you know, you just have to be really, careful because the issue with these record labels are that they always want like somebody in their A&R or they want, you know, somebody that they know to wind up being your manager. So that they can control every single aspect of your life. That's their goal, is like, how do we control every aspect of their life and have them do everything we want them to do, right? And I was in their way, right? Because I wasn't about like, okay, you want to do this, you want to do that. I was like, nope, not going to happen. Nope, not doing it. Nope, right? There was a scene, they wanted them to do a music video. And in the music video, they wanted them to take a bat and hit a cop car. right? It was part of the music video. And I said, not going to happen. I'm sorry. And they said, why? I was like, do you think it's a really good idea for somebody on parole to take a bat?
Nah, that was a setup.
Police car?
That seems kind of tricky.
Yeah. I was like, that's not going to happen. And they're like, well, if he doesn't do the video, we're going to drop him. I was like, peace. Right? I was like, drop him. I was like, I don't really care. Like, I'm not sending him to a music shoot where he's going to take a baseball bat to a police car. That's never going to happen. And, you know, and it was like, there was similar stuff like Dave Chappelle wanted to have him on the Chappelle show. And I read you know, he wasn't allowed, like he had a curfew, right, of like 9, 10 o'clock. And, you know, if his PO showed up and he wasn't there, right, he's going back to jail. So we had to pick and choose like our battles wisely. And I remember he was doing, I don't know if you remember this show, but Chappelle's show was doing, I think Jizza and RZA were on there. It was some kind of international draft, right? They were doing some kind of international draft and they wanted Dirty to come up and say something like, Old Dirty Chinese restaurant or something and walk off. And they gave me the script and I looked at it and I was like, no, can't do it. And they were like, why can't he do it? I was like, well, first of all, he can't be out that late. Second of all, you know, like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, Asia is like one of his biggest markets. Like, why is he going to go up there and like say something stupid, you know, like make a joke about like old dirty Chinese restaurants? Like, why?
That's like sabotage.
Yeah, I was like, we're not doing that shit. No way. And so I turned it down, right? Now, mind you, I didn't turn it down for any other reason than for two reasons. One, I didn't find it, while other people I'm sure found it funny, I didn't find it funny because like I knew Asia was one of his biggest markets and I just didn't find the joke funny. The second thing is like, I didn't really want to waste one of our like late nights on something that I didn't think was good for him. So we talked about it and he's like, what do you think? I was like, I think you shouldn't do it. And he's like, then I won't do it. And that was the end of that.
Exclusive content by the dipshits.